This is the quest within. The quest within.
Let's do it. What up, y'all? Welcome to the Quest Within podcast. I'm Theology, and I have one of my good homies. He's very posh. He might be a Gendleberry. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Pendlebury.
Oh my god, I love that. I remember, Posh Genderberry was going to be my drag name in a fictional world, you know. But yes, lovely to be here with my good friend Matt. Yeah,
Dude. So for those of you who don't know, Josh used to run this thing called Bonus Stage Van, and that's how we met through doing virtual video game music shows. And those were really great, man. I know I've thanked you before for doing those in person, but like those were pivotal for like where I'm at today in the scene, and I can't thank you enough for putting all that time and effort into those. Those were so fun, man.
Thanks, dude. I did have a lot of fun doing them. I will discredit myself on how much work it was. But you know, it was certainly worthwhile, and I've made lots of wonderful connections, and it is always rewarding to see tying into our conversation today. It's always lovely to see how your support can make a difference in a person's life.
Yeah, whether they, tell you or not, the things that you're doing sometimes literally can go leaps and bounds beyond what you even imagined, So, but yeah, we're here to talk about you and things that you do for work to contribute to capitalism. Yeah.
To contribute. Okay.
Sorry, I have a lot of really dumb stuff on my mind lately, if you can't tell.
No, you're par for the course. Yeah,
Josh, what do you do?
What do I do? Yes. So, believe it or not, folks, volunteering to run virtual shows for the internet does not pay any bills. But
if only.
What I have, if only. Oh my God! Hey, donate $10 to the arts today. That's all I have to say. But what I have been doing to pay my bills for the last 13 years, I've been a support worker. I work closely with people who live with disabilities to help them with a bunch of there's a broad spectrum of individualized goals. People need help finding jobs that are accessible and accommodating. People need help finding community. They need help finding independence and life skills, finding opportunities for social connection and things like that. Just like basically picture anything that you would want to do with your life. That is probably something that I have helped somebody else do in their life who might not have been able to do so otherwise. And as I said, I've been doing that for 13 years.
Right.
I've been working the last 10 years now with a nonprofit society here in Vancouver called the Spectrum Society for Community Living. And I've worked with them because they have a very important policy and tenet of their core values is the individualized supports. I've worked with other agencies in the past who approach more of like a group support model, group homes or group day activities and stuff like that. And it's so much more rewarding, and I think I'm able to do better work if I'm able to focus more on the one-to-one. So I've been really happy and enjoying that for the last 10 years with them, with Spectrum.
That's so cool, man. The charity partner that I have, Guild, here in St. Paul, Minnesota, they have a sort of a similar approach. There are some things that they do with groups, obviously, but they keep their client base really small on purpose in order to invest as much as possible into their clients. And they do the holistic, like mental health, homelessness, and employment services as well. That's one of the things that drew me to them. And so it's really cool that you sort of do some similar work. I really respect the crap out of that because truly, and I was saying this the other day to one of my friends, I'm like, yeah, so Guild does all three, and really, like, I feel like a lot of people need all three of those to begin to sort of feel some sort of like a purpose. Do you know what I mean? If they didn't feel that they had one before, these three things are very holistic in nature and they really ground a person. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so cool that you do similar work. I love that, man.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think you touched on an important point. This is something that's very central to the field is just like, the basic hierarchy of needs, right? Like if people are fed, if people are housed, if people have connection, they are just that much closer to actualization and feeling like they have a purpose and aren't just like a vessel for other people's charity or, what have you, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. It's been pretty central for me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and me as well. I remember there was a season of my life where I didn't really, how do I say this properly? I didn't like have a job, right? I was going to be like, "Oh, I'm going to do music completely and that's it, right? I'm going to live off savings and huzzah," right? And when I finally got there, I realized that, "Oh my god, I need to do something else." And that's half the reason I started driving Uber, right? Is because like it kind of felt weird. It was like, yes, okay, this is like a job, but like I never wanted the passion to become too much of a job. Do you know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah,
with introducing that other thing into my life, I feel like my life became more balanced and more well-rounded, right? And so yeah,
right.
I don't know.
Don't love your job your love.
I like it. That was
Oh my
so
god.
like how you would say something too. Like
That's not how I say it. No, this is a direct quote. I can't remember. I think that's one of the out of touch Kardashians or something. I
oh
don't know who
lord.
said that, but
Yikes. Well, sorry that I just compared you to that.
hold on.
Uh,
It came out of my mouth. Yeah. From my mouth to your ears.
good God.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So what does a day in your life look like then? If I were watching the Palo from Tokyo YouTube channel, but it was, I don't know, Moo Man from Canada and he was going into a day in your life, what would that look like?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, let's see. Currently, the way it looks is I see about 5 different clients throughout the week. So I see either one or two people each day. We usually like meet up and talk and catch up and see where everyone is at with their individual goals. Like I said, some people like for instance today, I met up with a guy for like an hour and we caught up and just talked about like some of his social connections, how's work going, like where just like kind of catching up, being a bit of a sounding board and also just kind of offering like advice or input where that is desired.
Mhm.
And then yeah, and then I moved on to have lunch with another guy who's working on his life skills and like trying to brainstorm easy ways for him to cook at home so he doesn't have to like go out and eat, just finding simple things, not that he's like has any physical incapacities, but just like, the mental thought of like, this, oh, I have this, I have that, I can make this. Great. So I get to be kind of like a second brain for that kind of stuff. And like honestly, like outside of that, we kind of talk about video games a lot. I've been typecast at my job as the guy who supports all the young nerds. So I've got like my racket of young guys that I support, and I just kind of call them my dudes.
Love it.
And most of them are just like nerdy guys who, uh, honestly, and this will be a little bit of a tangent, but like men in this field are kind of a hot commodity. As you can imagine, not a lot of men find themselves naturally going into a care field. And so, for other men who need support, to have a male as a liaison, as a role model, what will you, is quite desired. So I've seem to have just been funneled into my pick of the litter, and it's been pretty sweet for the last few years.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's kind of the same thing in my wife's field. I feel like
Mhm.
yeah, with when it comes to vets, I feel like men are a lot more rare. as well. But we're not talking about vets. We're talking about you. And I'm curious. So men are a hot commodity, right? But just in general, like, do you need like a certain level of like degree or education to do this kind of work, or can, like, I'm really curious about that because I don't know, your job sounds pretty cool, but I don't have any like psych degrees or anything. I'm completely a layman. I talk about mental health all the time, but of course, I'm always saying I'm a layman. If you need expert help, get that. But just curious, kind of like where your credentials might lie.
That's really interesting because I actually just kind of fell into this job.
Really?
So and we can talk a little bit about the backstory because I think that'll give more context.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so I don't know how far back we want to go because we can talk about the cult that is Lululemon. But I was working for
Hit me,
maybe their warehouse.
Yeah, I'm more of an
Warehouse of all places.
I'm more of an aloe guy myself. I'm more of an aloe guy myself, but that's okay. Yeah. Anyways.
Oh my gosh. Well, when I was moving to Vancouver, I was just kind of taking whatever jobs I could get based on a connection, and one of my friends
Right.
got me into working at Lululemon at their warehouse. So it was warehousing. I wasn't like at the head office. I wasn't dealing with all of the cultists there, but I was there for 3 years. I had like a team leadership position. I was looking to move up a little bit, and there was a bit of a ceiling there where, if you wanted to go into management at Lululemon, they wanted you to take one of these self-help seminars called the Landmark Forum, which has been banned in a few European countries for cult-like activity because it is literally brainwashing. I did go to their weekend seminar, which was just like a taste, I guess. I went for the first day, and I just thought, like, literally, like, they were bringing people on stage, having them share something traumatic in front of a crowd of strangers and breaking them down emotionally and then indoctrinating. It was just like step by step, like brainwashing 101. And I was just like, wow, I'm not coming back for the other 2 days. Lululemon paid for it. I don't care. I'm out of here.
But you're like,
Yeah.
I already like left another cult, so I shouldn't go into this one. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I was really glad that I knew the signs, right?
totally.
And so yeah, so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna be here much longer. Like, there were some other issues at work with coworkers and whatever. I was just like, okay, my time here is done. It's time to move on to something else. I had a really close friend named Sean at the time who was doing this work, and he was like, "Oh, dude, you should come and work with me at this day center. You'd be like a perfect fit." And I was like, okay, interesting. I don't have like any background in support work. Like prior to that, I didn't have any education. My mom was an educational assistant, and occasionally she would bring some of her students home. I can't remember what the arrangement was there, but like something about like, helping some of her students like socialize a little bit more. She'd bring over, people who were either born with like Down syndrome or had like hearing issues and stuff like that,
Right.
communication issues and things like that. So I just kind of like got naturally acclimated as a child to people who I just hate the terminology around ability and
Yeah, yeah.
ability and all that stuff, but dealing
Totally.
with like differently abled people. And so, so like I definitely led with that when I was in my interviews and stuff like that. And sure enough, this big guy who's willing to work with these people, like, let's just bring him in and see what he can do. And yeah, it was an interesting experience. I worked there for about 4 years. Again, it was more of like a group support setting. So I would come in, there were maybe 15 to 20 people who came from their homes, and like it was kind of like an 8:30 to 3, almost like that kind of like schedule from like school, from grade school, like that kind of like routine based, like show up, have a morning activity, do lunch, go have an afternoon activity, and then go home. And like there was some work on goals for some people there too, but obviously like in a group setting, like we don't have as much leeway to focus on individuals.
Very
or-
true.
but yeah, that's how I got into the field in the first place, was literally a friend being like, you would do really well at this, going in, trying it out, and just kind of sticking it out. And I did like have a little bit of a burnout. I took a break for like 3 years where I went and worked at a different warehouse, and then I had a injury on my right arm, and I was like, well, I don't want to do heavy lifting anymore, so I'm gonna go back to support work. And you know what? Especially in the age that we are all in right now, having a job with people is pretty secure, I will say. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of AI infrastructure is really catering towards there's some accessibility stuff that's in there, but it's definitely not their key demographic.
Right, of course. And honestly, yeah, there is something to be said about that. I have asked other people in these podcast episodes that I'm doing currently about how they feel about AI. And it, like I interviewed an art therapist a little bit ago, and I was like, how do you feel about AI? And they were like, well, if somebody's like completely unable to do anything art wise, but they could use AI somehow, then I don't see a problem with it, she said. But also, like, I would encourage them to actually like make something themselves because it's way more like beneficial and engaging for them, right? So
Yeah, one of the cool things that we had at that day center, which is actually now close to my house. I've moved to New Westminster here,
nice.
in the Lower Mainland, and but one of the centerpieces at this day program was a pottery studio, and so it was like they had all the people coming in who were supported, like doing art. They would like either paint on canvases or paint on pottery or just draw or whatever. Like art therapy was like this was the place to do it, and Dee Blackmore, who I'm gonna shout and sing praises to, this wonderful old lady, which I had a very very good and inappropriate rapport with. We blasted each other so much at work. She was just a real breath of fresh air.
Love that.
But she would like advocate for them as artists and like set up shops and opportunities for them to sell their work. They have like just over in the River Market here by my place, they have like a brick and mortar shop where they have like artists work on sale. Really cool. Love to see it. So yeah, art therapy in that sense, yeah, I don't think that's likely to go away anytime soon.
Right. Yeah, people like seeing something they actually made, right? Like, I don't want to go back
There's
to
not like 3D printing all those little snaky dragons.
oh my god,
Oh god.
don't even get me started. Yeah, god dang. But I was getting
Sorry, I've got you started.
yeah. I'm like, not to bring it back to capitalism, but I feel like when like AI is the ultimate corruption of capitalism infiltrating art. And we could unpack that if we wanted to. I don't know, but that's just how I feel.
Well, it was really interesting when you opened the show with like contributing to capitalism. Like we are a nonprofit society. We are completely government funded.
Yeah,
There is like
yeah.
no hints of, if anything, like capitalism in politics affects us, a little bit. Obviously, when like funding gets lowered or cut for
Right.
things, but yeah.
Well, maybe I said that so that you could bring this point up.
Yeah, I'm not actually
You know what's good, baby?
sure because I know there's must be some differences in how nonprofits operate in Canada versus the U.S. I'm not privy to those differences, but
Me either. Yeah.
yeah. I know that the infrastructure is probably a lot more in favor of actual nonprofit organizations being able to receive funding like from the government and stuff like that, as opposed to just being like self-funded,
Yeah.
write things off on your taxes, yada yada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that my charity partner, it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And yeah, I actually have an interview with the CEO that came out in February. And you can listen to that to hear some, I guess, because I asked her about like, hey, the economy sucks right now. How is Guild gonna sustain itself, right? And she had a lot of good stuff to say, but so yeah, I'm gonna ask you the same question actually, because so are you only government funded?
Yeah, as far as I know. I mean, I haven't like been up at that level, up at the presidential level, where I need to really concern myself with where the funding comes from. But essentially, so there is like an umbrella organization here in BC called CLBC, Community Living BC,
Mhm.
and they are like one of the larger recipients of government funding, and then it's their task, like they have their own like support services, but the large part of what they do is distribute that funding to other nonprofit societies and monitor their programs, and just kind of like make sure that what we're doing is up to their standards and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I unless there's like a charitable organization that drops a lump sum or a recurring sum, I don't think there's any other funding that comes in for what we do. But
Okay.
you can
Wow.
imagine that can also mean that it gets quite limiting sometimes.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, and there are also some cases where, for instance, one of the people that I see are actually like a contract, and it's just like a contract that we bill the parents of this person, and it's just like a month to month billing cycle. It's just kind of like and it's like small. It's like I see this person for like an hour a week.
Okay.
So there are those arrangements as well, but again, that all still falls under the same accreditation and monitoring that our umbrella organization does. Almost said umbrella corporation. That is not anywhere near
Yeah.
the idea.
Too much talking about video games with your clients today, Josh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So are there any ways that you think you have been limited lately?
Oh,
Are there things that you would like to do more that you can't do for your clients because of funding?
um, I won't say that funding is a big barrier right now. There have been political conditions in British Columbia where funding cuts have been felt for sure.
Okay.
Um, yeah, there was a prime minister, Stephen Harper, who really like cut a lot of funding, and yeah, that was kind of a rough period. But yeah, I think that's definitely not the barrier right now. One of the biggest barriers that I'm experiencing with my work is I don't know, maybe this does just all come back to fucking capitalism, man. Because no,
Unfortunately, yeah.
well, one of the things that my little pod within Spectrum is trying to focus on is like finding accommodated employment for the people that we support, and like that requires a larger commitment, that requires more resources from an employer. Obviously, if businesses in general aren't like feeling really flush, like they're not thinking about, oh, I'm gonna like, do this thing and have this person come on board with my team, and it's gonna be like this wonderful, fulfilling thing. It's like, no, they're just like literally scratching by for their bottom line, and those kind of like considerations can't even like come into the math, for them,
Unfortunately,
unfortunately.
yeah.
So yeah, like capitalism definitely is coming into the picture a little bit. That said, there are some solutions that we've been able to find internally. For instance, one of the people that I'm supporting, we were able to recently hire him to just kind of like do some landscaping and some yard work for some of the homes of people that we support. So like he's essentially just like getting paid out of whatever maintenance budget that house might have for the
Sure.
year.
Yeah.
And it provides something meaningful, and like he's just been like I've seen his attitude completely turn around, because I feel like he's naturally inclined to be a little bit negative, but then like just like every time we meet up, he's like, oh dude, I'm so happy that I have this job and I can like have some money to like spend and like help out my mom and all this kind of stuff, like people
Oh, that's
in
so
some pretty
sweet.
like
Yeah.
hard times. And yeah, and like I don't know, like he attributed it to me. So like sometimes like his mom, like his elderly mother, will like have bought me gifts from Costco, and it's like I'm like, dude, like I do not need this. This is no, like please just take this back home.
But it's
Like
nice to know you made an impact, and like
yeah,
that's really cool, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There've been a few other times. I think I mentioned this because we were talking a little bit before the recording session here about
Yeah.
that, and I find that because it's very marketable, it's very flashy to have moments and stories
It
that
is.
describe impact.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's less common in this field, and that maybe like people's perception of the job is tainted by the fact that they don't see those things, right? A lot of the work that I consider important to my practice is stuff that is almost invisible.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
For sure.
uh, I'll say some of the things that I value most and that I try to advocate for are like giving the people that I'm supporting as much agency as possible. Like one of my complaints about the way that people who need support are treated is that um and you might even just like see this like in your daily life, like if you see somebody out who's clearly like somebody who needs support and somebody with their support worker, people will usually address the support worker and almost ignore the other person there who
Yeah.
it might be the subject of
Oh, that is such a good point. Yeah.
and like it's like, oh well, I mean, this person's right here. If you want to ask him something, like ask him. Like I'm not here to be the point of interaction. I'm just like I should almost be a shadow, honestly. Like if I'm doing everything that I need to do the best that I can, and that this person is empowered as they can be, I'm just a shadow. I'm just in the background.
Yeah.
And if they want to like I can be an observer and a sounding board for things after the fact, but like I should really be invisible.
For sure, because otherwise it's like, don't
Yeah.
treat this person like a child, you know?
That's it.
Yeah.
It's the infantilization. And
That doesn't feel good,
and I
you know?
think the underlying systems that support that though are like, like I can't imagine being a parent to somebody who needs a lot of support. I understand that would be a very difficult thing. I've worked with lots of parents, to like address their child's needs. These are all adults. I don't work with children. I work with adults,
Okay. Yep.
exclusively.
Sure.
And but all the same, like these are people who have never been given much choice, by either the systems that are supporting them or parents in given situations. They don't have as many opportunities to exercise their agency.
Right.
And so that's why it's really important to me. Like, I have a few people that I see that, would rather defer a decision, like a simple decision of like, what do you want to eat? They would rather defer that to somebody else just because they aren't like practiced in making their own decisions. And that's really sad for me. So I'm like, like I will tell them very plainly and straightly, like, no, this is your decision. The things that you like.
Yeah.
You just have to let me know. And it doesn't have to be the same thing every day. It can be a different thing, but just like, please make one decision. And like it sounds rough, but it's like really like that's like a physiotherapist trying to treat an atrophied leg or something like that.
Honestly, yeah. And I mean,
Have to get up and move.
I was gonna say I've definitely been around people who aren't even struggling with anything and they can't make a decision, right? So like, yeah, it's I don't know. It's how it goes. But like literally, yes, I like the analogy of like it's, an atrophied leg or something. Yeah, that
It's a muscle.
Yeah.
Our all of our executive functions are muscles.
Honestly, yeah, they are. I mean, I even find that with creativity, like when I'm like producing, for instance, like if I force myself to get in there and do something, just one thing maybe, right? Um, like for example, our collab,
Oh, bro.
dude, Steel and Snare is the hardest song on that entire soundtrack, for sure. And I was like, how am I going to do this? But literally, I approached it every day with the death by a thousand cuts mentality because that works in the opposite way too. So I would just do a little bit each day. I did a little bit. It's better than doing nothing. And that little bit, or I guess if you want to compare it to what you just said, that making the one decision, right? It helped. And then eventually we finished the track. And I would say it's quite cool, but you be the judge of that.
Yeah.
People, I'll link it in the description down below. Like and subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So tight.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. No, literally though. Like you did such a good job on it. But yeah, anyways, that's a really good point. It's definitely like a muscle atrophy, and you have to exercise that, otherwise you literally will not get anything done ever. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like that at the end of the day, like, I just think of what I'm doing. It's all soft skills. Everything that I've learned through this job, through doing it, gets, I've had like training and stuff like that. Like,
Sure.
my jobs have all trained me. They've put me through different courses. At the end of the day, everything that I've learned is just like it's a people skill. These aren't like things that apply exclusively to people who have disabilities, unless you're working on like wheelchair transfers or like,
Right.
any like manual kind of stuff. It's just like the key to support is just like open listening, active listening, sorry.
Yes.
Active listening, open mind,
Yeah.
active listening, lots of compassion and yeah, just like I don't know, just like talking to people. That's like really it.
Dope.
I'm glad that that my job has like put me through some very valuable courses. We've learned things about like crisis intervention and stuff like that.
Mm.
Because there have been situations in the past where you're in a public space and somebody's not having a good time. To resort to like escalation to get themselves out of situations and stuff like that. And they're skills that I've also just been able to apply to social situations.
Right.
I mean, I feel like I should bill for those hours sometimes, but but just like it's all just like human needs. They're all just basic human needs. Like yeah,
Of course.
understanding how people escalate and de-escalate.
Right. Can you give, well, maybe not like a example where you're like doxing somebody, but like maybe an example of something that happened where you had to use some of those techniques? I'm actually really curious about that.
Yeah. Maybe I'll lay a foundation of what the training actually is, because there's
Go for it, man.
here in BC there's like a few different kinds of programs. They all kind of follow the same ethos of non-violent crisis intervention,
Sure.
right? So the goal of supporting somebody who is, becoming agitated, vocalizing a lot, maybe even like becoming physical, is like to reduce harm for them and for yourself and just exit the situation, make an opportunity for things to cool down so that you can reach baseline again and then debrief, get through it, talk about it, like the goal is literally to just like reduce as much harm as possible, exit the situation.
Yeah.
The method that Spectrum Society teaches is called the MANT system, MANDT. And it's much better. I've had some training with other societies where like I don't know, like we go to restraints like right away, and I'm like, what? No. Like I don't like. Just, you have to be in some pretty dire situations to like
Yeah.
to train people on restraints that quickly. But we don't really have a lot of that going on at Spectrum.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, because I feel like immediate like physical like restraint is kind of akin to telling somebody to calm down. Like they're not gonna calm down.
Yeah,
Like
it's like kneeling on somebody's neck. Anyways, yeah, so like Mant, it's more philosophical. It like talks about like like there's what a sine wave is, right?
baby.
So like imagine just like one wavelength of a sine wave. So you've got like your baseline. If somebody's like agitated, like the man system will tell you steps for like each scale of an escalation cycle. So like at like the first ramp up, you can like offer different choices. At like at another level, it's like okay, like as little interaction as possible, just try to exit the situation. If somebody is like fully escalated, then you're just like literally like health and safety, just clear like space around somebody, do what you need to do for life and limb.
Right.
And then things will start to drop, and then usually there's like a dip below baseline, right, when people have they're like it's a physiological response where like energy has been expended.
Yeah.
The brain is a little tired. Things kind of like get a little foggy or dizzy for a little bit, and then afterwards, you can start to have conversation again and
Yeah.
with people and try to use reason. But like literally, there's like the whole cycle is about like how much can a person going through that respond to like physiologically, how much is a human brain capable of responding to when like it's agitated or there's a problem with something, and like they just stop making sense of things. There have been some instances where I've had to use that a lot. And actually there was an incident, gosh, maybe like 2 years ago now,
Mhm.
where I was supporting somebody where at the end of it, I was like, I'm sorry, Spectrum, it's been lovely. I do not wish to support any more clients who respond in a physical way to anybody because this person, and like a nonverbal client, unable to express themselves very articulately at all, relies a lot on hand gestures or grunts and things like that. But we were at a public place, and for whatever reason, they just kind of like lost it and started like swinging their arms and legs and stuff. I like took a good knock. I got a good bruised arm from that, and like I was just concerned about like there were children
Wow.
nearby. Like I didn't
Totally.
want this kid like getting knocked right.
Yeah.
But I was very proud of myself because I held myself together during that situation. My focus was on getting this guy calm down to a reasonable point where we could exit the building. We got into a taxi together. I was like on the phone to his mom. I was on
Mhm.
the phone to my supervisor, just letting them know the situation. It was like he kind of came down to a point where like he was actually smiling and kind of glad that we were out of that situation. And like I was like, like I it's really hard not to take those sorts of things personally. But with my experience, I've been like, this is just something that this guy has been going through. It's really not a whole lot to do with me, so I'm just going to get him out. I'm going to get him home. I'm going to get him to a safe, comfortable place, and then I'm never gonna see him again because unfortunately
Yeah.
I was done dealing with that kind of stuff in this line of work. That's the flip side to being a male in the support scene is that you will get handed some people who like the intention is to pair people up with who they're going to get along with.
Makes sense.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that's also about, like somebody might feel safer with somebody who they know would back them up in a situation like that, right? Like
Mhm.
somebody who they wouldn't like, you know, maybe somebody that they feel they couldn't overpower. It sucks, but like that is 100% like a health and safety concern
Yeah,
in the
for
field.
sure. And you are a tall and
I-
pretty built guy, so yeah, I guess that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
But
Yeah. But all the same, yeah. So, they're not my favorite situations. And there are the much more nuanced situations where somebody gets escalated and they're not physical. They're like, like very verbal or like, saying wacky stuff or like, sabotaging their relationships and things like that. Um, so it's not all physical harm, but
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, like just still being able to use those skills. They're human skills. They're soft skills.
Right, right.
And they can apply across many different situations.
And the cool part is anybody can learn them. The MANT system, to reiterate,
Yes.
is what that's called. Yeah, that's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Are there times where things cross over from the soft skills sort of support into more like concrete like life advice and like, or do you let that be for like a therapist or somebody else? Just kind of curious sort of what happens there if you support clients in that way at all.
Oh, well, yeah, definitely. I mean, especially with, some of the clients that I have that are more long-standing. Obviously, like I've gotten to know them very closely. We talk about a lot of stuff. I think naturally, I have some people who tell me a lot of stuff about like their life at home or like, their social interactions, things where, they do want a little bit more advice. And, like the people I work with know that I'm not a therapist. Usually a bunch of them have therapists or other professionals in their lives who are hearing them or these things. But like at the same time, like it's hard to have those conversations with a therapist and nobody else in your life.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm absolutely open to having those conversations and being like, oh, okay, well, I'll try to ask like what, if, and they can absolutely not tell me things that they don't want to talk about. Again, it always comes back to agency, right? Because
Yes.
like I preface everything. It's like, this is completely like your business, dude. But if you want to talk to me about it, I'm here and open to talk about anything. And yeah, like there have been, gosh, it's probably weekly where I talk to a few of my clients about some pretty heavy stuff, and just like offering my perspective or like I'm always very clear too. I'm like, as somebody observing from the outside,
Yeah.
they know that like I am working with the information that you have given me and
Yes.
nothing more. But here's, and not only like, not just like giving them my advice as though it is the best course, but like, making sure that when they're talking to me about it, asking them like, okay, well, how does this work with what you want? How does this like, how does that match your goals for your own life? Or like, like making sure that it's not just what does Josh think?
Yeah.
Like I'm just reflecting it back and be like, no, what do you think? What like again, I should be a shadow. What I think you're really not like the tell all for your life. Like I'm happy to be a support. I'm happy that you trust me and all of those sorts of things, but I don't want to be the final decision for some of your big life stuff, Like that's too much responsibility.
Of course.
And I think everybody should have that responsibility for themselves.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, there is wisdom in a multitude of counsel. There just is. And I like what you said earlier about like we people also need to have these kinds of conversations with somebody who isn't a therapist. No, because it should be both. It should be both is what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. It's like you should have a clinical perspective, absolutely, if that's if you need help in that area, right? But you should also have, what do people think? How can I eat the meat and spit out the bones of this situation, right? Or this, this given topic in my life, whatever I'm going through, right? And yeah, that's why like in my book, I'm very careful to say that like, I am a layman. Please, if you need professional help, please go get that. But also like having a layman's perspective can be very helpful sometimes too, because I might think of things your therapist didn't think of, and then vice versa, right? And so it's just an ongoing conversation. But yeah, I was just curious if you did that at all, or if like, your company like wouldn't let you cross certain like boundaries or whatever, as far as like, advice giving or whatever. But yeah, that's very helpful.
I definitely don't purport to be a counselor.
Sure.
Like
You are a facilitator, as you told me.
I make
Yes.
sure all of the guardrails are put in place so that
Yes.
when we have those conversations, yeah, and there have also been situations where sometimes somebody's trying to divulge too much or stir trouble or like not respect like the boundaries that they should have with the support worker, like hounding them over text and trying to like they don't get the answer they want from one person, so they go to somebody else. And, you do also need to have that kind of awareness when you're doing this job.
Yeah, totally. Because I bet it is like, I know you have a lot of compassion. You're just a cool person, right? And so if those lines have ever gotten crossed, like, I don't know, what has helped you set boundaries, I guess. Has that ever happened to you? Have you like,
Yeah, I've just had to just state very plainly what my boundaries are in an objective way. To and this is another skill that has come from my job, because especially when we're reporting incidents or like making daily logs of our activities, is like everything has to be very objective. You can't, like, when you're documenting stuff, you can't like suppose or write in that like what you think somebody felt. You just have to be like, this happened, and then that happened, and then this person said this, right? So just like very
Cut and dry.
clean,
Yeah.
objective, straightforward, black and white information. And so I will be like, uh, if somebody's like texting me after hours and they like are not having a good time for whatever reason, obviously my compassion wants to jump in and say something, but I have to be very clear and plain, especially if they're like not respecting it. It's be like, my work hours are such and such. Uh, like if you are having a hard time, like talk to the person that I know that you live with, or talk, like reach out to your therapist or something like that. Like we can have a conversation about this when we see each other this week or next week. And just state it very plainly, and like you don't have to do more than that. As long as you have stated your boundaries, you just maintain it. And if they keep texting you or bringing up something inappropriate, you just don't respond to it, right?
Yeah.
At some point, it becomes stonewalling, and that feels like shit because
Yeah.
nobody deserves that. But like you have to stand firm with your boundaries.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's something that I do struggle at, is setting boundaries in general and sticking with them, because I feel like when I do set boundaries, they are constantly and consistently challenged, and then my compassionate side gives in. And yeah, that's something that I'm trying to get better at in 2026, is to actually just stick with my boundaries. But I don't know, it always makes me feel bad. It's a curse
Well,
I have, dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
compassionate to a fault.
Yeah.
Are you self-compassionate? Because if you were compassionate for yourself and your needs when those are violated, I mean, like you would clearly stand up if one of your friends' boundaries were being violated.
Right.
Would you give that same treatment to yourself?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Mhm.
And so when you frame it that way, yeah, I can hopefully go into the rest of 2026 thinking about that, cuz yeah, I mean it is hard sometimes to be compassionate towards yourself. It really is. Um Self-love is it's such a fine line between, like, how should I say this? It's such a fine line between knowing that you like are awesome and you have self-worth,
Mhm.
but not getting too overly cocky with that, if you will. And so I'm always just trying to like find where that balance is. And I feel like it's probably different in any given situation too, right? But yeah, boundaries are just, they're hard. They're hard for me to set and to stick to, because I just would rather, I don't know, help the person and harmonize the situation. Did you ever do strength finders, by the way, in any training that you've received?
Finder.
It's this like corpo book that, yeah, that's the best way to describe it, but I did it in a Foundations of Leadership.
Myers-Briggs or something?
Kinda, yeah, but it's more used in corporate settings, I feel like, and I had to do it in a Foundations of Leadership class that I took when I was in college. And my biggest like skill or whatever was harmony. I seek for harmony in most situations, and I'm willing to sacrifice sometimes my comfortability to just make a situation harmonious, right? Because I'm like, oh, it's less work for me to just do this than to do it the hard way, where I, maintain my boundaries, right? If they're being crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I feel like I'm just kind of, yeah. Do you have something? Because I'm all ears, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, dude, and it ties into my work so much too, because to that I would say, if you are stepping in, like if somebody is disrespecting or trying to cross your boundaries, Matt, and you respond by compromising those and accommodating them, you are actually denying them the opportunity to learn how to respect your boundaries. And this is, again, like, it comes around to agency and practicing and strengthening those muscles. And and
Yes.
that I have to fight as a support worker to be like, I know what to do to make this situation easier and to get the task done, but that's not my point. My point is to help them practice and learn how to do the task themselves. So by by prioritizing the harmony, that is a short-term fix, by the way. You are exercising all of your emotional labor to just harmonize the situation, as opposed to, investing in the long-term goal, which is the harmony that comes between the two of you and is not just created by you alone.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
Harmony's
so
like two
amazing.
people, right?
Yeah, totally true. And when I guess I could expand on that further and say that, like, if you deny them the opportunity to grow, yes, it's a short-term fix. If you give them the opportunity to grow, you're growing as well as them. You're both growing at the same time. So it might be more uncomfortable, but it's actually more harmonious to do it the hard way.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, dude. You do have to suffer like small moments of discomfort
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I did a
It makes me think about like active listening too. Like where, I did take like a leadership course as well through work. And one of the things that I remember them teaching about active listening is like, if somebody wants to tell you something, just like don't say anything for like 60 seconds. Like if somebody is it especially like with what I just talked about like people trying to talk about difficult subjects, right? Like, you might be tempted to jump in with an anecdote or say how like you can relate to something, or like, finish their sentences or complete their words or whatever, right? But like you won't actually hear them when you're speaking. So, like you have to sit with a little bit of discomfort, shut up, and let there be a little bit of silence, and you'll be surprised at like what more comes out, like when the person understands that you are giving them your full attention.
Yeah. Silence is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, uncomfortability is okay. I did a whole podcast episode about uncomfortability, which I don't think is a word, but we made it into a word for the sake of the episode. Yeah, me and Nathan, my British friend, who I try to do episodes with when I can, but he's insanely busy. And yeah, just about how people aren't okay with sitting with that for whatever reason. And yeah, maybe that should be a muscle that's exercised more, is sitting with uncomfortability if it is for the greater good.
Hmm. Yeah, dude. Because comes right back around to capitalism, right? People's attention spans are short.
Bro, but actually, man,
Doom scroll. If the comfort from an awkward situation is literally just pulling out your phone and staring at it, like, like that's why people have phone addictions. They can't sit with their own thoughts for 30 seconds. It's sad.
it is freaking wild.
I've been guilty. I'm not
Well, yeah.
like a saint here at all. But
Me too. And like I've especially noticed it lately in my life in particular with all the stuff that's been happening in Minneapolis. It's like I want to keep up with the news to know what's happening, but at the same time, I'm constantly like engaged. And I remember a couple years ago, there was a point in my life where this was also happening. And I realized, no, I should have some quiet enjoyment in my life. And I stared at a tree for an hour and I felt so good afterwards. Like I just sat on my front step, I drank some wine, stared at the tree, didn't do anything, didn't look at my phone. It was wonderful. But that's really hard. It is really hard in our modern society to do anything like that because, good Lord, we're so distracted by everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
to do nothing.
it's wild.
There's a movement right there. Do nothing.
I always feel so guilty about that too, man, because like there's so much I need to get done. There's so many people that want my time And that's okay because I want to give them my time. But it gets overwhelming, you know, at times, which sucks. Cause, dude, literally, if it was healthy and I could just go nonstop, I probably would. Because I don't know.
It's like no sleep.
Yeah, like, cause I'm gonna die someday, man. I want to see all the things I can. I want to invest in as many people as possible, but it's not healthy. And so breaks are good. Breaks are good. And actually,
Self-care is great.
it's so great. Uh, there's a point in the new Tetris, which I reference a lot because I really like the soundtrack, and I love playing that game. Have you played the new Tetris for N64? No.
No,
Oh, dude, it's wonderful.
I don't think so.
Well,
Sorry, when you said the new Tetris, I was like, is there?
as in like, oh yeah, well, what for PS5? No, it's called the new Tetris. Yeah, it's called the new Tetris. It's for 64,
Oh, my God.
and
Okay.
essentially all the different levels are like themes from around the world. There's like a Moroccan level, an Egyptian level, a Russian level, right? And your goal is to get a bunch of lines in each of those levels, and then you build a monument. And yeah, once you get the amount of lines that you needed and you build the monument, you can look at a cutscene of it in a little portion of the menu. And I never really appreciated that feature when I was a kid because I was like, oh, I just want to play the game, you know, whatever, who cares? But in looking at that as an adult, it's like, no, they're literally giving me an opportunity to slow down, take a step back, and appreciate what I've built. So why would I not take the opportunity to do that? Watch the cutscene, listen to the dope music that Neil Voss made, and yeah, just chill. Doing nothing. It's really hard for me. It's really, really hard for me. I need to take that advice more. But yeah, I guess other things I'm trying to do better in 2026. Yeah.
Do you need some support, Matt?
Yeah, maybe I do. Yeah,
I'm always in your corner, dude.
I appreciate you. Yeah, it's also on my list to find a good therapist this year that really clicks with me. That maybe we'll go into a little RTS because I need that as well. But yeah,
We'll go into a real-time strategy.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, play some StarCraft with your therapist.
Not religious trauma at all. Yeah, but anyways, yeah. I just want to reiterate, I'm a really big fan of the whole harmony conversation, man. Yeah, my dad used to say, if somebody were to like give me or him something, he would be like, "Man, thanks. I don't want to rob you of the joy of giving." Um and I kind of feel like it's a little similar, dude.
Yeah. And like, you can apply it to, like this is something that I've been guilty of that I've had to train myself on is just like accepting a compliment. You know?
Yeah, Doug.
Like my reflex is to just turn that right around. Like, nope, you're awesome. Or, oh, thanks. Well, it was all because of this. And it's just like, sometimes like it does. It's like denying a gift. It's like,
Yeah.
like discounting somebody's opinion by deferring like credit or you know glory to another entity or something like that.
Right.
And also you're just like not internalizing, like you're denying yourself the joy of that moment. And like we all need to feel joy, like not
Yeah, dude.
other people, but you yourself
Right.
need to experience joy. And when somebody gives you that, you just need to, it's like active listening, just like shut up and just internalize it, man.
Yeah.
Just like say thank you, just practice saying thank you. Like, oh, that's such a nice thing to say, thank you so much, that means a lot to me. That's literally all you need to say when somebody gives you a compliment. You don't have to turn it around. I mean, there are some there are some social types where that's definitely the expectation,
Yeah.
but you don't need to feed into it.
Right,
Just
right.
say thank you, right? Yeah.
It is wild the shit humans have made up and like the song and dance that we do in certain situations that's just completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
I dance around that, man. I'm just like, if I see that, I'm just like, okay, you're fun. Goodbye. I don't have time for that stuff, man. I'm 40 years old.
Wait, you are?
Yeah, I turned 40 last year.
What?
Yeah, dude. I'm old. I'm
Oh my god,
guard.
I did not realize that. Holy crap, dude. I mean, age is a mindset, so it's like it's whatever.
Yeah.
But
I'm still 27.
yeah, dang right. I don't know. I'm 34, but I still party like I'm 22, so sometimes that's to my detriment anyways.
Don't worry, you won't pay for it for another 6 years.
Yay.
Yay.
Oh,
Talk to your doctor about cholesterol.
I so.
man, you're sounding like an American pharmaceutical ad there. Are pharmaceutical ads banned in Canada?
We definitely don't see as much. I mean, I haven't watched
Because I think they are in Europe.
right? Like,
Well, I know, but like even like on YouTube and shit, like you'll all the time in America you get pharmaceutical ads.
yeah, they're much more prevalent down there for sure.
Yeah.
Just because our AR broadcast standards are higher and our pharmaceutical and health standards are different, at least, right?
I mean, it would maybe
Say better. Yeah, you could say better.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's not as privatized either, so there's
Right.
incentive, right?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I've always just found that so weird about America. Yeah. Anyways,
Miracle drugs.
woo. Well, dude, we're at an hour 7. I think we should maybe stop. I don't know if
We call it.
are people going to want to listen to this whole thing. I don't know. I'm going to try to keep as much of this uncut as possible because it's like, dude, I'm just chilling with
Okay.
my homie, bro. Like, you're the best.
Hell yes, dude.
I freaking miss you, dude. And like,
I mean, thank you. Oh god.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There it is. And I'm going to be harmonious and let you say thank you. What was I going to say? Are you going to be at VGMCon?
Hell yes.
Good. I look
Yeah.
forward to
I mean,
seeing
like
you
the
there.
embargo's lifted, but I'm waiting for the official announcement to drop. Danny B Style will be there. And
Oh, that's
we're
exciting.
I'm gonna be doing the warp stage again. I'm probably gonna be playing live with this cool guy named Theology
Oh, that's right.
if he wants to get me on stage.
Yeah. We'll see. Had to plug you there, baby. Dude, what time signature is that even in? I don't even know.
It's a weird subdivision of 9/4. And the reason I say 9/4 is because it goes between 4 and 5 and 4 and 5. And then there's a section where it's definitely like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And and then there's like they definitely like added like a 1/8 in there at some point. Like there's just little moments of extension.
Yeah. It's the weirdest freaking song. I remember hearing that as a kid and being like, what in the hell am I listening to?
And there's like this weird atmospheric drone in the background and
Yep.
stuff too. Like
Which I got. I mean, I didn't get the exact sample of that, but I recreated it into what I did in our remix, and I don't know. I think I did okay at it, but yeah.
you did great. I was like, oh, this is like different people.
Let's go.
It's a sample.
Yeah, except it's not because I did change the rhythm a little bit in my remix or in our remix, excuse me.
Right.
Yeah, because I don't know, it made more sense EDM wise to change it into what I changed it into, but it's for sure the best drum and bass I've ever made. So, I'm very proud of that, but yeah. And Nico too. So Nico Mendoza is on this as well. Yeah, and he destroyed the bass. It was unbelievable. When he sent me his stems, I was like, "Oh my god, like we have a chance at making this okay."
Oh man.
Yeah, he's a legend. Josh, I love you. Thank you for your thoughts today. Thank you for sharing what you do. I think it's really cool to hear that, like, I don't know, somebody like me who does have a heart for these kinds of things could maybe even do your job one day, you know? Because it sounds really rewarding and really fulfilling. Yeah, seriously, man. Just investing into people and giving them that sort of, I guess, non-clinical, if you will, support that, probably feels good and normal. You know what I'm saying? And just like, yeah, I don't know. You're a good friend to me, and I can only imagine the amazing support you give to your clients. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say?
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, dude.
Thank you. I'm just going to internalize that compliment and love myself and all of the wonderful.
Well, because there's a fine line.
To
Yeah.
but
I mean, hey, you can think you are the shit, but as long as you don't think you're better than anybody else, I don't see a problem with it, honestly.
yeah.
And
There's a difference between thinking you're the shit and knowing you're the shit.
and
There you go.
on that note, we will leave you guys because you are the shit, Josh. I love you, dude.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thanks so much.
This has been the Quest Within podcast. Catch us next time. Bye.
Bye.
This is the quest within. The quest within.